Hey guys, Pie Guy Rules here, and welcome back to me ranting upon SpongeBob episodes. Last time I mentioned that while Splinter was an awful episode, and certainly worthy of being contested for the title of the worst episode ever, but I believe there is one that is worse. This is the episode that made me personally give up on SpongeBob. This is when I sat there, and after watching that episode, I declared, it's done. This is not SpongeBob anymore. This is ScumBob. This episode breaks everything about SpongeBob. It defies its entire continuity, its physics, its world, its characters, its very definition, its very tone, even. It's not funny, it's just bad. But enough about intros. Let's dive right in, or sorry, let's get blown right in, you'll see later, to my least favorite episode of SpongeBob, Spongehenge, or as I like to call it, Scumhenge. So we open on two fish coming out of the diner, holding leftovers, arguing about whether Neptune or Poseidon is king of the sea. One of the fish's leftovers get blown away by strong, I guess, water currents. The leftovers go through ScumBob's window and smacks him in the face. He steps outside to see what all the commotion is, and realizes that his pores are whistling in the wind, as he puts it. And, wait, wind? I'm sorry? Wind? Underwater wind. Why? Really? No, really. Why underwater wind? And I know what you're thinking. You're thinking, Pie Guy, well, they've done this before. They've done gags related to fire underwater and, all sorts of things breaking the underwaterness. But you don't understand. When they did it before, they did it to be funny or to make a point, to be ironic, like when they start a fire underwater, and then only when SpongeBob points out that how could there be a fire underwater, it goes out, and that's the joke, and it just becomes pathetic, and it's like kind of, Wile E. Coyote running off the cliff, and he doesn't notice until he sees it, and then it happens, and he falls, and it's funny. It's a brief gag. I'm going to warn you right now, this entire episode verges on the fact that this is wind whistling through SpongeBob's pores, and it makes no sense. It makes no sense, and it's okay if it's a joke, but it's not a joke. It's just the entire episode is founded upon this horrible fact, and it's because of this that I'm pretty sure the ScumBob universe takes place not underwater. It just wants you to believe it's underwater with bubbles. That's pretty much the references you're going to be getting to it being underwater. ScumBob may as well take place on the moon or something, because it really doesn't take place underwater. Granted, there's no wind on the moon either, but either way, I was just making a point, and this is going to get more frustrating as this goes on. So, ScumBob's whistling pores are starting to attract jellyfish, which at first he finds amusing, but later irritating when they start swarming him and stalking him and not leaving him alone. It kind of reminds me of Jellyfish Jam, where the jellyfish were attracted to music, swarmed to SpongeBob, and SpongeBob couldn't get rid of them. Except, this is ScumBob, so you know this is going to go in a way worse direction. And trust me, the direction it goes is so random, you wouldn't expect it. You really wouldn't. So, through shenanigans, ScumBob is unable to get to work, as the jellyfish are, rebounding him back into his own home. Eventually, he gets his hands caught in the door, and he pulls them out, and they're all swelled, and he tries to dial Mr. Krabs for help, but he can't because his hands are too big, and are they making another Suds reference? Really? No, they're not. What am I thinking? That would, again, be a more clever show. This is probably just stealing from them. Or just stealing from the other episode I reviewed. ScumBob tells Mr. Krabs that he can't get to work because of jellyfish are attracted to his whistling holes. And then Mr. Krabs says he'll never understand what SpongeBob meant by that, thus making another joke that I should have made. Thanks a lot, ScumBob. You're stealing my jokes yet again. So Mr. Krabs reels ScumBob into work with a fishing rod, okay, and ScumBob starts to work, and things are going fine until the wind starts kicking up again, making noise out of his holes, and jellyfish start to get attracted to him again. If this had been played a little bit better, I could honestly see it being some kind of a parody of, Alfred Hitchcock's The Birds. Really, I could. Honestly, if they'd have stuck to this kind of jellyfish bugging SpongeBob thing, it might have worked, but no, ScumBob has to play it really weird. ScumBob decides to run away from the Krusty Krab as there's too many jellyfish there stalking him, and he tries to hide out at Patrick's place. Now, something interesting about this scene is that before ScumBob comes in, Patrick's watching the news on TV, and he throws his ice cream at it, and he's all like,
I don't want to watch this stuff. I want to watch something decent, like... And then he gets cut off by SpongeBob coming in. This is kind of interesting because of the quote that comes after it, in which SpongeBob is swarmed by the jellyfish. Patrick doesn't want him at his house, so Patrick tells SpongeBob to get out of here, and that he's become a bad influence. There we go. Even Patrick, even the stupid Patrick, can tell anyone on the street that SpongeBob is a bad influence on kids. It's a bad influence on writing, it's a bad influence on anything, and I'm just stalling because the really bad part is coming up soon. So SpongeBob leaves and flees to Jellyfish Fields, which really doesn't make any sense if you're trying to hide from jellyfish, and he hides in a cave. Now, SpongeBob says he'll wait here for a few minutes, and then he sees a nice and shiny rock, and then he starts carving into it, and then a little while later passes, and he's carved out another SpongeBob. A weird little rock, awkward-looking SpongeBob, but still a SpongeBob nonetheless. He also has a full beard at this point, because it was later, so it's showing that time passed, but I don't get it. Why does he have this thing, really? Is it a joke? What honestly bugs me so much about it is the fact that it seems like it's referencing something, but I don't know what. According to the SpongeBob wiki, which does exist and has been very helpful in making these rants, it's a reference to Castaway. Okay, I guess Tom Hanks is stuck on an island, SpongeBob is stuck in a cave, and they both grow beards. Ha! Referenced! I don't get it. SpongeBob starts talking to SpongeBob about his problems, and when I say talking to, I mean SpongeBob starts going completely insane, and SpongeBob says nothing. If you can guess where this plot's going, I will give you a shiny nickel. Because really, what is going on? SpongeBob realizes the holes in SpongeBob also make noise, and that he can trick the jellyfish into thinking that SpongeBob is him through the music that it's making. Unfortunately, SpongeBob is not a perfect copy of SpongeBob, and the jellyfish spot the fake through the sour notes it's making. And they swarm SpongeBob, and SpongeBob realizes he needs to go back to the drawing board and recreate a bunch of SpongeBobs, and then the jellyfish will leave him alone. So, after SpongeBob has constructed a bunch of giant SpongeBobs, eventually they start playing the music right, and the jellyfish are attracted to them. But here's a thought. If it's taken SpongeBob this long to craft all these things, there's still intense winds going on? Seriously? How long has this been going on? This must be a serious problem in Bikini Bottom, if the winds have been going on this strong for this long. I'm serious. I wouldn't be surprised if the town was in ruins by the time SpongeBob gets back. So anyway, free of his curse, he finally goes back to the town and realizes that the Krusty Krab is covered in sand and abandoned. And it's probably hinted at that humanity is gone. Or, sorry, fish-manity is gone. And, yeah. It's a reference to Planet of the Apes, which kids probably wouldn't get. Maybe they would, I don't know. But it's an odd reference to make. And we see SpongeBob crying in the sand because he realizes that he's outlived everyone, I guess? The title card tells us that it's 3,000 years later, and these weird alien things are giving a tour of this Spongehenge, as it were, and they talk about how no one knows who made it, but it causes annual migration of jellyfish. And then we zoom in on one of the stone SpongeBobs, and we hear SpongeBob's laughter. That is the eeriest way to end an episode. Seriously, what on earth is this show about? What? Okay, let's break this story down really quickly. There's a wind underwater, which there shouldn't be. SpongeBob tries to get to work. Okay, has some shenanigans. SpongeBob goes to Patrick's house, has more shenanigans. SpongeBob hides out in a cave, builds a stone version of himself. Jellyfish don't like it. He builds a bunch more. Jellyfish like it. It's still windy for some reason. He goes back to his town to find that it's abandoned, and he's sad. And then 3,000 years later, long after our main characters are dead, we see aliens touring it? Like, what is this? I know it's a reference to Spongehenge, but what? I feel like when I watched this the first time, I felt like there was a movie about Spongehenge that went something like this. Like, I don't know how ridiculous that sounds, but I felt like there was a movie about it. And as far as my research, there is none like this. I mean, maybe some of the lore of Stonehenge is like that. I don't know. But it all seems like it's a parody of a movie that I haven't seen. And honestly, the movie parodies that they are going for, little kids wouldn't know. You know, and they'd be really confused and terrified at the sight of the Krusty Krab buried in sand, as if to say, well, thousands of years have passed, everyone we know is dead. Seriously, it's a weird ending. It's not funny anywhere through, and the entire thing is based upon some kind of loophole to the fact that SpongeBob's universe takes place above the sea and not under the sea, even though the show says it is. It doesn't make any sense. It's not good. It's not funny. It's just the epitome of bad writing. It's just the epitome of bad everything. This is what SpongeBob stands for, at least in my opinion. Alright? I've been wanting to get this one out for a long time, because this is the episode where when I saw it, I was like, no, I'm done. This is not SpongeBob. I am not watching any more of these episodes, because it's not SpongeBob. It's ScumBob. And it's disgusting, and it's wrong, and it's a zombie of a show that apparently is going to get a second movie in like 3 years, and it's going to go on for at least 3 more seasons, and it's ridiculous how this thing can keep going on, Nickelodeon. You can't rely on them forever. You really can't. But I'm beginning to sound like a broken record. So, join me next time when we will talk about one more bad SpongeBob episode. Yeah, that's right. You guys have told me, after I did the voting, that there is an episode that is really bad, and a lot of people have messaged me about this, and I haven't seen it yet. I'm kind of curious. In fact, I'm very curious, and that really scares me. I feel like I'm going to experience a lot of sadness soon. So, yeah. Alright, well, I hope you enjoy this rant, and yeah. Bye, Guy Rules. Out.